Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Maryam and I hope everyone's staying safe and healthy. Today we're celebrating the July 2020 Stencils, Enamel and Creative Cutouts release. We have a bunch of new products and a fun blog hub with tons of inspiration, so make sure to check out the link to our blog in the description box below and join us in our new release. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to create 3 A2 size cards featuring some of the new products. But first, let's take a quick look at what I've got in my box. First up, we have 4 new sets of enamel dots that coordinate perfectly with Altenew's crisp dye inks. The new colors are Seashore, Shades of Purple, Warm and Cozy, and Tropical Forest. Next up, we have 6 new stencils. Here is Mountain Scene Stencil. Then we have Feathery Stencil. This is Geometric Landscape Stencil. Next we have the Alphabet Stencil. This one is Trellis Stencil. And last but not least, we have the Cloud Scene Stencil. We are also introducing a new product category, and these are the new Creative Cutouts. The Creative Cutouts are basically finely detailed laser cut cardstock pieces, and right now we have 2 sets available, which are Nested Wreath and Moroccan Mosaic. In addition, we also have 2 new decals, and these are Skyline in pixels and Whirl in pixels. Alright, now let's move on to our first project. For my first card, I'm going to be using the Mountain Scene Stencil to build the landscape scene background and also the Cloud Scene Stencil for the sky. I'm going to start by inking up the mountains using my Altenew ink blending tool, and I'm going to place the background panel onto my stamping mat from Altenew as well. Then to keep the background in place, I'll add some washi tape. Since this is a builder stencil and has a bunch of different parts on it, I'm going to use post-it notes to cover all the other spots that I'm not going to be inking right now. Now for the mountains, I'm going to use butternut ink and pumpkin pie ink, which I will end up changing to dark chocolate ink to get a better contrast between both colors. Then for the trees, I'll use Forest Glades, and for the water, I'll use turquoise, Zebreeze, and a little bit of Tide Blue ink as well. Now for the sky, as you can see here, I have covered all the elements that I inked it up before. And this is because I don't want to accidentally mess up that part with some other ink. So I'm going to use sea glass ink, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm going to use the Cloud Scene Stencil for a more realistic looking effect. And once again, I'll use my Altenew's ink blending tool to ink up my background. Okay, so out of camera, I sort of messed up the background I had just created. Here in camera is not very visible, but in person you can definitely see it. I'm not sure how this happened because I covered all of the spots with post-it notes, but somehow I ended up with brown fingerprints on the sky. I tried to erase them with my Tombow sand eraser, but unfortunately it didn't remove all of the ink, so I decided to start all over again and ink up another background, but this time without the mountains and trees. Obviously I didn't want to lose all of the work that I've done before, so I decided to fussy cut the mountains and trees from the previous background and use them on the new one. Now for the sentiment of my card, I'm going to use Have a Beautiful Day from the Fragile Foliage stamp set, which was just released a few days ago. I'll use my stamping platform and my Obsidian pigment ink to stamp the sentiment. Last but not least, to adhere the mountains and trees in place, I'll use foam squares. Now let's move on to the second card. For this card, I'm going to be using the Geometric Landscape Stencil. This time, we're going to try a different ink blending technique, and we're going to do an ombre background. All the inks that I'm going to be using are from the Tranquility Oval ink set, and the colors are Misty Morning, Cloudy Sky, Nimbus, and Dark Night. To apply the ink, I'm going to use my Altenew ink blending tool once again, and I'm going to start with the lightest color first, which is Misty Morning, and then move towards the darker ones as I get closer to the bottom part of my panel. Since I decided to start with the lightest color first, there is no need to clean the ink blending tool in between colors because obviously all of the other colors are darker and are also from the same color family. For the sentiment of this card, I'm going to use a phrase that I really like from the Say It With Love stamp set that says, "Here is a wish for happiness and many dreams come true, not only on your special day, but always all life through." Now, to add some texture to the card, I'm going to add some metallic thread on the background and then adhere the sentiment over the thread using some foam adhesive to add even more dimension. Alright, now it's time to move on to our third and last card of the video. For this card, I'm going to use the Trellis Stencil and the Altenew Texture Paste. In order to be able to apply the texture paste to our panel, we're going to need a palette knife. The one that I'm using right now is just a plastic one that I bought some years ago and it still works like a charm. Obviously, there are higher quality palette knives available out there, but this plastic one works perfectly fine. To protect my work surface from staining, I decided to put a recycled clear bag. And then to keep this stencil in place, I used some washi tape, just like I did in the previous cards. After I applied the texture paste, I let the panel dry for some hours, and this is how it looks like. Now, out of camera, I inked up this Wreaths from the Nested Wreaths Creative Cutouts with Forest Glades ink and my Altenew ink blending tool. Since I have two wreaths, I'll adhere one of them using foam squares to add some dimension. And then for the other one, I'll just use some liquid adhesive. Finally, for the sentiment of my card, I'm going to use Hello from the Hello and Hugs die set and adhere it to my background using foam squares. Okay, now that we have completed all of our cards, it's time to add some embellishments. I'm going to add some sequins and enamel dots from the new release, and then I will mount all of my cards onto an A2 size note card. Okay, here's a look at the three cards together. I think they ended up looking really good, and I also like the fact that in all of them we tried different techniques, but at the same time using one type of product in common, which are the new stencils. Now, I want to hear your thoughts, so let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite. Alright, that is it for today, friends. I hope you enjoyed this video and also inspire you to create something new. A link to the blog hub will be in the description box below. Also, if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and click that little bell so you don't miss any new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!